Hi, welcome to IST 611. This is Learning Module 2, Web 2.0 and Networked Information Technologies. In this PowerPoint, we're going to look at Web 2.0 technologies, the characteristics and the resources, and most especially, how can these resources and services support both the teaching and learning process. Web 2.0 is an umbrella term for the second wave of the web that is commonly defined as the evolution to a more social, interactive web. It gives everyone a chance to create, share, publish, and collaborate. In August of 1991, when Tim Berners-Lee first created the web, webmasters or programmers posted internet content and the exchange of information was mostly one way. With Web 2.0, applications such as wikis, blogs, photo and video sharing, and social network sites allow ordinary users to post content online, making anyone with an internet connection a participant and a potential resource. Believe it or not, over 50 million Americans have posted content to the internet. Tim O'Reilly, who was credited with coining the term Web 2.0, wanted to denote the major changes in the web that were taking place after the dot-com bust. He offered different characteristics of Web 2.0. One of the first was the concept of the web as a platform. And it's basically a core concept, meaning that the web is the basic platform where everything is built, rather than packaged software programs loaded on individual computer drives. Services are provided on the web. Although Tim O'Reilly was thinking in broader perspectives, many of the concepts and ideas presented in his Web 2.0 ideas relate to technology use in schools. Web 2.0 characteristics support the principles of good teaching and learning, primarily active participation and collaboration. If we take a brief look at what some of the experts in the field talk about and think about Web 2.0, John Dorvac, who writes for PC Magazine, believes the real trend is self-service. Tim Berners-Lee, who is the creator of the web, believed it has to do with people-to-people interaction. That was his vision when he first did it. And Peck believes that it's driven by publishing, where Alexander, it's collaboration and openness. Now, if we focus in on their main concepts, self-service, interaction, publishing, collaboration, what we see is a web that supports active learning. We want our students to be collaborative. Well, with Web 2.0 characteristics, you can. Users participate. It is no longer a one-way street as it was with Web 1.0. Students are active. They're independent learners. Most of the professional literature on pedagogy advises that to best prepare our students for the complex world in which they live and work, we should develop interactive, inquiry-based, technology-rich curriculum. In the book by John Bradsford, How People Learn, he argues that active rather than passive learners are better to understand and to apply complex material, and one can more effectively transfer information and concepts learned in one setting to the process of solving problems encountered in another. In other words, when students are actively engaged in their learning and are required to apply what they learned, they return that knowledge better. The American Association of School Librarians have just completed the new standards. The last ones were out in 1998. They were called Information Power, and they focused on information literacy. This time, 10 years later, they have broadened it, and we're not calling them just information literacy skills. They're there, but it's a broader term. It is now 21st century learning standards, and they're developed based on 4 primary standards. And then along with that, they have developed 9 foundational common beliefs. The second belief listed, inquiry provides a framework for learning, focuses on students developing not only skills, but also the dispositions to use skills, along with an understanding of their responsibility and self-assessment strategies. The inquiry approach is focused on using and learning content as a means to develop information processing and problem-solving skills. It's a student-centered approach, with the teacher as a facilitator of learning. Students are involved in the construction of knowledge through active involvement and, most important, asking questions. Questions are at the heart of inquiry learning. Barbara Stripling, who is the Director of Libraries at the Office of Library Services in New York City, has developed the Stripling inquiry process. She believes that inquiry places students at the heart of learning by empowering them to follow their sense of wonder into new discoveries and insights about the way the world works. Through this process, students identify what they already know, ask intriguing questions about what they do not know, investigate the answers, construct new understanding, and share those understandings with others. The entire process is permeated with reflection and critical thinking, so that the result of inquiry is not only deep learning about the inquiry question, but also the development of skills for independent learning. The Stripling inquiry model has 6 phases. However, it's not a linear process, but rather a recursor process that could be best depicted by a spiral or perhaps a cycle. Each phase involves critical thinking skills that empower young people to learn on their own. Connect, wonder, investigate, construct, express, and reflect. Web 2.0 provides exciting opportunities for collaborative, constructivist-based approaches, engaging students in inquiry and problem solving. But in enabling this, it's important to remember that students will continue to need high levels of reading literacy, including visual literacy, and will need to have strongly developed information literacy, such as being able to define problems, frame questions, explore ideas, formulate a focus, investigate, analyze, and synthesize ideas to create their own views, evaluate solutions, and reflect on new understandings. When we look at the Web 2.0 tools, we're going to look at them in the light of this inquiry process and possibly other ones. We don't focus on the technology, which one do we like, which one is cool, which one would be fun to use. We focus on student learning. At which phase is the student at that moment? Is the student at a phase at the very beginning in which they're going to try to connect and think about what do I know, and they blends into wonder, what questions do I have about this topic? What do I already know? What do I predict is going to happen? And then they go out, and maybe during the investigate stage we introduce new search engines to them. And then during construct, which is a very difficult stage, this is when they need to construct new understandings. They need to figure out what makes sense. What do I already know? I agree? Do I disagree with what I am finding? And draw conclusions. Come up with some new questions. Make some hypotheses. Follow it through. And then they can express their idea. We're going to look at what phase and which one of the Web 2.0 tools support that phase of inquiry. So our focus is on learning, and how do we use these tools to best support learning.